I'm here with the horse in training, Sakari. I'm going to show you me getting on her because you saw she had issues before where she was screaming. So when I get on her, I'm going to try and be nice, and I'm going to put my foot sideways. So I'm going to turn it so it doesn't go into the girth at all. Oh, look, my saddle sliding. Guess it was a little loose. Okay, so she's turning her head side to side. And there's different reasons why they do it. So she knows lateral flexion. So she knows how to, see the camera's on. So she knows how to turn her head side to side. Yep, doesn't matter where we are, we're gonna do it here. So see, she's protesting a little bit, that's okay. Let's get her back in place. And the fog's coming in, so hopefully you'll still be able to see it. So if they're turning their head and they're just looking and their ears are up, that's okay. If they're turning their head and their mouth is open, yes, they're gonna bite you. If they're turning their head and they're pissy, their ears are down, you know, it can be like she knows she's supposed to do lateral flexion, but she doesn't want to do it, or she's objecting that you're getting on. So the hard part with mares is it a pain problem, or are they just being a mare, or is it a mare that's in pain because she's in heat? You know, and some of them are just moody. That's the hard part. You try to figure it out, but if the vet says they're just being a mare, then it's a training problem. And we need to fix it because people accept stuff because it's mares. But remember, they have a job. If this was your only horse and this was your transportation and you had to get to work on it, you wouldn't be tolerating all these other behaviors. So we have to make sure they go when you ask them, they stop when you ask them, they go sideways when you ask them. They will try to outthink you, and they will be telling you you're stupid, because that's why they're trying so many things, because they think that they can outsmart you because they know that they're smarter than you. So you got to make sure that they do all the stuff that you ask them to do. So in the beginning, on the ground, she would get in your space. She would try to walk me instead of me walking her. She wouldn't back up well, or she would throw a hissy fit or become a little bit more aggressive. Fixed all that on the ground. Under saddle, she wouldn't walk, she wouldn't relax, she would get very antsy, she would get bunched up. She didn't know how to move sideways off your legs. She would cut way into the right. She would throw her body to the right. She would maneuver her body to try to do things that I was trying to make her to do. And so you got to be prepared for those things. Now she's much, much better. She's not perfect, but she's much better. And you wouldn't even know she leaned to the right unless she acts up in here, but you never know, because now I usually do the work in the arena but can't videotape in there well. So I'm going to show you everything, but if you want to be a good rider or get someone good to ride, you should have spurs and a stick so you have equipment to help you if they are acting up to get after them. And then when they're being good, I try to use my mind to ride them, my seat, and a little leg. So the less amount I can, so it doesn't annoy them, but if they don't do what I'm asking, then I increase the pressure. Okay? And now she knows everything. She knows how to, she's got a good stop on her, a good backup, she can move her shoulders, she can move her hindquarters, and she can actually walk where she would not walk before. So I'm going to pick up the reins. You'll see her ears are already like, I'm not doing it. Well, too bad. Okay? So I'm going to use my mind. I'm going to look to the right. She threw her body to the right, and she switched her tail at me. Just ignore that. So again, the tail's just the objection. So are the ears. They're trying to intimidate you. Just ignore it. Don't get in a fight with it. Just ignore it unless they won't go forward. So again, she could not do this at all. She would just cut way in. All right, so I'm going to circle to the right, just so you can see how she circles. I'm using light leg, no spur sticks. Now I'm going to circle to the left. Walking, she's stepping up, her back's relaxed, her head is down. So besides the tail switching and the ears, she probably looks pretty good. Okay, so now I'm going to take her around the arena. The left is a better direction. And we're just going to walk. So this is just going to be her flat walk. I'll try to stay somewhat in the camera. Now at times, she will shorten her stride, get pissy in her ears. Just ignore it and just keep trying to get your feet to relax and just push her forward. So I'm using very light leg and I'm just thinking forward. And as she goes around the arena, she gets better and better. But when I stop, then she won't go. So let's show you that. So now I'm just going to think stop, breathe out. Now she has a great stop, right? So now I'm going to back up. She couldn't back up at all before. So I'm going to back up. I'm just backing up enough to be in the camera. Okay, so now I want to go forward. Well, now she's much better. Before it was a big fight, and she wouldn't go forward. Okay, so now I'm going to do one of her, trying to make sure I'm on the camera, turns. So I'm going to do a turn on the forehand, which means I'm going to push her hind quarter. This was a big fight, me teaching her this. But once we got the point across, she could do it very well. So we'll see if she does it for the camera. So look to the right, little right rein, right leg. She didn't even switch her tail, imagine that. Good girl. So very nice, but that was a big fight. I had to get off and help her understand. Now I'm going to go forward. She went forward. She's pissy, but that's okay. So see, she's walking. You see me moving back and forth in the saddle. The next time around, I'll stop her and I'll go forward just so you see what she does, because your mare might do the same. I'm making the circle small because I'm trying to stay in the camera. Alright, so when I get up here, I'm going to breathe out, sit back, say whoa. She stops like magic. She did not have a stop before. Now I'm going to back up just enough so I'm still in the camera, and now I'm going to go forward. So see her pin her ears? But she goes forward now. Before she wouldn't, so I had to get after her with my stick, and I just kept tapping. And she was going sideways and doing all sorts of stuff, and I just kept it up till I got the forward butt. Okay, so now I'm going to stop up here, and we're going to do a turn on the forehand the other way. So we're going to stop. Now a little left rein, left leg, look the direction I want to go. Ignore if she's having a fit. If she tries to kick my bite my foot or something, then I'm going to hit her in the mouth with my toe. I'm just going to bump her a little bit, or I have a stick so I could hit her with my stick. Don't let them try to bite your foot. They do that, let them know that something happens, you know, when they try that. If nothing ever happens and they get away with it, it just gets worse. It becomes a habit. All right, so now we're going to go to a faster walk. Now I've been sitting here for a little bit, so she might protest more when we ask her to go forward. So I'm going to think forward, bring my energy up. I'm going to add my legs. She's like, maybe. Oh, and she went. So now we're going to ask for a faster walk. I can't stay on the camera the whole time, and I don't have a cameraman. Otherwise you wouldn't get all these videos because I'm already pouring up. All right, so you see other way she's on a loose rein. She's walking, she's shaking her head. She's got those nasty ears back. So I'm backing her up. I'm backing her up a lot. And then we're going to go forward again. Now she might not want to do this because we did it all in the arena before I put it on the camera. So I could get her training in. But that's too bad. So again, sometimes she's got a good walk. It's very nice. Sometimes she gets a little antsy and pissy. The trick is just to keep repeating it. In time she'll get better if I don't let her get away with this stuff. Every time she gets too fast, I just relax my body and give a little half hold. If she gets really pacey or pissy, I might back her up to let her know, hey, that's not cool. Okay. So now we're going to go the other direction. So now I do my turn on the haunches. So I'm going to push her towards you. And again, I taught her all this stuff, but it was a fight. So push her shoulders. So her shoulders are moving, her hindquarters staying somewhat still. And now I'm going to walk this way. So this is her faster walk. This should be a running walk. Because I wanted to make sure she can walk. Again, she can go faster. She can do a little racky gait. I don't need to practice that so much. I had to just get her walking. But you'll see she still can hear it in objection some of the time. Now she's talking. So if she's good, I just leave her alone. But most of the time I'm having to push her or encourage her to go or get on her case for being a brat. Good girl. Yeah, good girl. You can tell them that, but don't let them think that means stop. Okay, so now I'm going to turn her shoulders the other way. So I'm going to look, right leg right at the girth. This was a big fight. She really did not like the right side at all. Okay, now I'm going to walk a little bit this way. Okay, so now we're going to come at the camera. Okay, so one of the biggest fights we had was side passing. So once I know I move their hindquarters, then I can kind of drift into them. But she would shut down, even though I could get that, and the gelding would just, do it. She would shut down and like, no, I'm not doing it. So I had to side pass her around the whole arena. After that, she side passed really well because I wouldn't give up till she did it right. Because she knew a trainer will know how far they can push the horse, and if the horse understands what they're doing, you might not. So I'm going to push her to the left. She's supposed to just go sideways and not go forward. So I'm going to look at you, left leg on her side, hands to the right. So that's a side pass. Now I'm going to come back. So this is the direction she really didn't like off the right leg. And I thought something might be wrong with her because she had so many fits. But now look how she side passes. Yep, and she could not do this very well a week ago. So now I'm coming back. Now she's a little antsy. So I'm just not giving up. I'm not using my spur or anything, just my leg. But she knows that spur is there, and I'll use it if she's not doing it correctly. Yep. Good girl. Now we'll go to the right. So not perfect, but much better. Good girl. Okay, so when I teach them, I a lot of times give them a little treat. See her turning her head? So I'll give them a little treat when they do it right. The problem with her is she would do it. I would give her a little treat, and then I'd ask her to go forward after she was done eating the treat, and she was like, no, I'm not going. So I took the treats away, because I'm not going to reward a horse that's not going to try for me. So she doesn't get any more treats for trying, because she doesn't try hard enough, okay? All she's going to get is just the release. So you have to think, don't give the horse things if they're really not working for you, right? So it doesn't matter if it's mare or gelding. I give it a little treat because it's side passed, and then I ask it to side pass again, and it kicks out or spins around or rears up. It won't do it again. I'm not giving that horse any more treats because he just thinks, I did it, I got the treat, and that's it. I'm not doing it anymore because I'm in control. So they can't be in control. She has to do what I'm asking her. It can be an agreement, but again, the person paying the board should be the person in charge. And she's getting fed every day. So like, if you kind of think of mares, maybe like teenage girls, okay? They can turn out really well, or they can turn out really bad because they test their parents. And anybody who has kids understands this, especially girls. They will test and see just how far can they push you and just how many things can they get away with. Now, if they keep getting away with things, what do you think happens? They start running the show, but their life also starts going down the tubes. And it doesn't end up being a good thing. It ends up being bad for them as well as bad for you. So in their future, they're not going to be able to hold a job. They're not going to be committed to their friends or to their husband because they've been in the charge all time and haven't been able to make any agreements or understand what it's like to really get along with people and function in the world. So I want you to think that with your mare. This is an older horse, I think she's 10. So she got here somehow. She wasn't born like this. She tested people, and somewhere along the line they gave in, and then she came up with these bad habits. So thankful now her new owner wanted to fix all this, which is great. And I started her training, I think, on December 2nd, and it's December 23rd. So that's not to pat myself on the back like, oh, you're a great trainer. No, I just had to figure out how do I get this into her brain, and how do I show her I'm not going to give in like the rest of the people, and that this is your job now, so you have to do this every time I ask you for it, or it's not going to be any fun. So now she's come along and she's much better, and she's in work mode. She understands this, but she is going to test her owner. So they are coming to take lessons so we can figure this out, and then I can follow up with them. So if you have a difficult horse, you send it to a trainer. One of the most important things is for you to go and learn how to do those things. It also shows you if that trainer actually fixed it, because if they can't show you, they didn't fix the problem, okay? So we fixed all this in the arena around here. I can ride her down the barn and ride her down the trail, but she might get in a group of horses and more things might come up, so that might be another thing that we have to fix as we go, along. So just know mares can be difficult, and it's mostly because they're smart, but they can be crampy and they can be moody for different reasons. So you can give them hormones and other things to help them. Check with the vet, see if they know of things that you can give them. I've mentioned Angel Maker a couple of times, but there's lots of different supplements that you can try and give the horse. But the main thing is, don't let them get away with it, okay? I tell people, if you think they're funny with the saddle and all that stuff, have a saddle fitter check them. But if the saddle fitter's like, everything's right, and you've gone through 5 different saddles, it's not the saddles, it's the horse. She's just telling you, I don't like saddles and I don't want you to put them on me. And you're just like, well, that's how I'm gonna have to ride you, so I'm gonna put it on you. So you check everything first, but then you tell them, this is the only way we're gonna do this. Otherwise you're gonna go to another home. So do you wanna stay with me and life will get better and better once you follow my rules? Or do you wanna go back out on the street until you find another owner that you can mess with, okay? And you also don't want them to injure anybody. They will kick, they will bite, they will be nasty, so they need to be reprimanded for those things. So, when I was going forward before and she decided I don't want to do this anymore and she kicked out, I stopped her and I backed her up. And I've done that so many times to her, she then went forward and never tried it again. But they will keep checking, like, hey, is this same person up there that's going to make me do that stuff? Kind of eerie, right? It's like the fog coming in, like that crazy movie, The Fog. Okay. So apparently that means I've been talking too long, because now the fog set in. But hopefully that'll help you with your mare. When they're nice, be nice. Everybody thinks this is the sweetest mare, because when she's on the ground in her stall, she's very cuddly and she's very sweet. And you'd never know that she would be so pissy under saddle. And they'll fool you, because you'll be like, she's so sweet, I don't want to get after her, she's so kind, look at her. Well, of course, she's just being that teenage girl or that woman. She's really pretty, right? She's using her looks, she's using her sweetness to control everything around her and get what she wants, okay? So they know that. Don't let them be in control, okay? It can be an agreement, it can be a union, but she should not be above me. Okay, hopefully that helps. Right? She's like, yeah, can't wait to go home.